princesses! Today I'm going to be talking about the Etude House Cloud Filter Cushion. I picked this up because I wanted a new travel cushion and I thought that it looked really cute. I love the colour and the packaging looked really cute on the website. When I got it though, I was like, oh, that kind of looks like that. Because when you store it, it sits like this and not like that. So yeah. I picked mine up from YesStyle and I'm just finding their product description. They've got an editor's note. So I'm hoping that that one is accurate. It says, boasting a lightweight formula with a satin matte finish, this vegan cushion effectively conceals blemishes, enlarged pores and uneven skin tone for a smooth and radiant base makeup. The cushion foundation is also fitted with SPF 42 PA+++ to provide ample sun protection. This dermatologically tested product is suitable for sensitive skin. I picked mine up in the shade 19 Porcelain, which I believe is the lightest of the four colours. No, it's the second lightest of the four colours. I think that Fair, when I looked at it, had more pinky undertones maybe, and that Porcelain was a little bit more yellowy. So I'm just looking at the pictures, and I'll put the pictures on this as well. And it so doesn't, like they've taken the photo from such an odd angle, like this kind of deal, that the product itself doesn't even look, this does not look like the pictures really. I've already talked a little bit about the packaging. In terms of usability, it's fine. It does have a big mirror, of which I haven't even taken off this, because spoilers, don't really like it that much. I love the colour. The cushion puff is the classic sort of teardrop design, and it has a little flip to keep everything nice and sanitary and to keep the cushion nice and moist. I think that the packaging itself, the shape, it is really pretty. It's a nice blue and it's a nice thought, but it does just end up looking like a butt. So I think that someone probably could have thought that through a little bit better, maybe, I don't know, made it a little bit bigger or smaller and made 3 instead of 2. So it would have looked a little bit more cohesive. So I'm going to apply the cushion to one half first so you can see it a little bit better. The lighting is not very good because it is unfortunately the middle of winter in New Zealand. I am using a different cushion puff to apply this because I don't like the Etude House one. It's quite thin and it's not very like squishy. So I'm using a Spa one, which is a little bit more cushioned. And I have the shade number 19 Porcelain, which is pretty good in comparison to my neck. I am struggling a little bit around the inner corner of my eye because that is generally a bit more dry. Here is one half of the face done with the cushion. I think that it gives nice coverage. It's pretty easy to apply generally, although I don't recommend the cushion puff that comes with it. I think that I found it really hard to work with. I've used it a few times. And now that it's blended out a little bit, I think that it looks a little less ghostly, personally. So I'm going to do the other side while I talk about the rest of the things with the cushion. Even though I find it easy to apply generally, I do have to make sure that I have really, really moisturized skin. So this morning I think I used, what, vitamin C, because it's the morning, 5 layers of 3 different toners, including like a milky moisturizing toner. I can't use the Laneige one because that makes all of the makeup kind of like peel off. And then moisturizer and sunscreen, like a moisturizing sunscreen, to get this to like look acceptable. Otherwise, if I don't use enough skin prep, it's quite drying, and I think that there's like probably 2 reasons for that. One reason is that it's middle of winter, my skin is dry anyway, and then the second is that I think that it's not particularly a moisturizing formula. So if you do have dry skin normally, it's definitely not one that I would recommend because I find that it clings to those dry patches, looks really flaky, and even if you moisturize really well, I don't know if it'll happen today or not, but we will see. I find that it tends to kind of like flake progressively throughout the day. So that happens with other foundations. It's not just this one being not good, it's just that it's not compatible with my, what I would call my winter skin. But here is the final result, and I'm actually going to pick up the camera because every time I try to zoom it, it just goes out of focus. So hi. So here is how the cushion is looking up close. Okay, so you can kind of see how around this part it's quite dry. It looks so shadowy, sorry. And then if I smile, you can see it sitting in the lines, but it's not terrible. This is a birthmark, so it wouldn't normally be covered, but you can still see that there's a bit of redness. And there's one little acne scar down here that didn't quite get covered, and then the old scars around my mouth. So it's fairly light coverage. You can definitely see like some redness up here as well. Not if it doesn't focus though. And you can also see like some freckles and things. Yeah, hopefully this is a better view. I don't know, I feel like it's a weird angle for my face, but if I hold the camera, I think it stays in focus at a closer angle better. So I will wear this for the rest of the day and then check back in with you guys. So I'm right by the doors, so the lighting is way better, but the color of the foundation is much nicer over here. Don't come at me for that one. But it is very dry and it's kind of sitting into some of these lines, and underneath, like on the chin, looks a bit flaky to me, but I think that it's going to be hard to see. It also makes around the eyes look a little bit dry, but it's not too bad. So it's only been about a few hours. This just happens to be my break for the day. So I will check in at the end of the day when the lighting is worse. Sorry. Hello, it has been just a little bit over 12 hours, 12 and a half. And you can see that my nose is so red. Rude. So it's worn off completely on the nose tip. Same with the chin. It's a little bit, every time it goes into focus and then stops. The chin has a little bit of wear, but not nearly as much as the nose. And you can see like dry skin there, which is awful, I know. But she's not oily. So if you've got oily skin, this might be one you want to look into. It is quite dry feeling, and I'm not going to get any footage of this because I can't even zoom in close enough to like look at other stuff. But the yeah, it kind of goes like all spotty down the like sides of my cheeks. You can kind of see where the coverage is, where the coverage is not, and she's a little shiny underneath the bangs, but not really. Like that's mostly just the overhead lighting. So overall, it's not awful, but it's also not good. But yeah, it's not my favorite finish. It's not my favorite longevity, but it's okay. So I did the application yesterday, and I have to say, for some annoying reason, it wore quite nicely and it didn't like crack and dry up around my chin, although I did have the separation issue down the side of my face. I don't know what's up with this camera. It doesn't focus anymore, so I don't think anyone's going to see anything. But generally, I think because this one is a satin matte finish, it's not really the best suited for my skin type at the moment in the middle of winter when my skin is more dry. So for that reason, it's probably not a product that I would repurchase, and it's not actually a product that I will keep around to use up either. It just doesn't look that good on my skin, and I don't think that in the summer it will look that much better because my skin type just seems to be getting more dry as I get older, unfortunately. I used to have very oily skin when I was younger though, so it feels a bit bizarre. However, I do think that the product is still a good product for somebody else. If you have a more oily skin type and you wanted something that is more of a satiny matte, it's not a super drying matte. So I think that my Laura Mercier foundation at the moment is more matte and drying than this one. I do think that it would be a good option for someone out there, and it is pretty cute. Like, it is a pretty cool color, and I think that if you were able to set it up, it would look kind of nice. I like the color. I like the shade for me personally, but the shade range is extremely disappointing. Like 4 shades. I'm number 2. And the other 2 darker shades are like half a shade darker each. It's kind of insane. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I wouldn't repurchase it and I won't keep using it because I'm looking for something better. But I still would recommend it if you fit the shade range, which is extremely narrow. And if you're looking for something that is a satin matte and has a little bit more of a cutesy packaging, if you're looking for something that's a little bit different. So thank you guys so much for watching this review, and I will see you in the next one.